The piercing shriek cut through the usual afternoon drone of the city park, a raw sound of desperation that made pigeons scatter and paused the laughter of children on the swings. It was a scream that demanded attention, a plea for help echoing off the brick buildings. Yet almost everyone seemed to flinch, look away, or simply quicken their pace. Sarah, a young woman with eyes that held the ghosts of too many sleepless nights, was on her knees beside the overflowing public waste bin, her hands shaking as she clawed through discarded coffee cups and crumpled newspapers. Tears streamed down her face, leaving clean tracks on smudged cheeks. "Please, she's in here!" Everyone ignored her screams except the single dad who was walking with his daughter. She begged, then his expression changed. Most people in the bustling park registered the noise as an unfortunate incident they'd rather not be involved in another troubled soul, another problem best left to someone else. Parents pulled their children closer, murmuring about the unfortunate realities of city life. Joggers picked up their pace, their earbuds already blocking out the world. But among the sea of averted gazes, one man stopped. Mark, a single father in his late 30s, had been enjoying a rare, sunny afternoon stroll with his 5-year-old daughter. Lily, with her bright pink backpack and bouncy pigtails, was happily recounting her morning at kindergarten. Her innocent chatter was abruptly cut short by Sarah's frantic cries. Mark's first instinct was the same as many others: protect Lily. He instinctively tightened his grip on her small hand, his gaze wary as he assessed the situation. He saw Sarah, disheveled and clearly distressed, rummaging in the trash. He saw the way people were avoiding her, their hurried exits painting a picture of discomfort and judgment. He felt a familiar pang of frustration, not at Sarah, but at the collective indifference. His own life hadn't been easy. He knew what it felt like to be overlooked, to struggle. He knew what it meant to fight for someone you loved. "Daddy, what's wrong with that lady?" Lily's innocent voice, filled with genuine concern rather than fear, cut through his cautious thoughts. She was looking not at the bin, but at Sarah's tear-streaked face. That was it. Mark's expression softened, a subtle shift from guarded concern to unwavering resolve. His daughter's pure empathy had pierced through the societal conditioning to look away. He knelt down to Lily's level. "Someone needs help, sweetie. It's okay. Stay right here with me, all right?" Lily nodded, her small hand squeezing his. "Can we help her, Daddy?" Mark looked at Sarah again, and this time his gaze was direct, unwavering. He started walking towards her slowly, deliberately, pulling Lily gently along. As they approached, Sarah finally looked up, her eyes wide with a desperate hope that quickly turned to apprehension, expecting the usual disdain. "Please," she choked out again, her voice raw. "My baby, she's in there. I dropped her. Please, someone help me get her out." Mark, now standing a respectful distance, scanned the overflowing bin. He could see no baby. He could smell only the unpleasant odors of city refuse. "What baby?" he asked gently, his voice calm amidst her hysteria. Sarah pointed frantically. "My Teddy. My little Barry. He's all I have left. He fell in and I can't reach him." A wave of understanding mixed with a profound sadness washed over Mark. It wasn't a human child, but to Sarah, who clearly suffered from a mental health crisis or profound trauma, this teddy bear was everything. It was her baby. He saw the judgment on the faces of the few remaining onlookers, heard a snicker from a passing teenager, but he also saw the genuine agony in Sarah's eyes, the pure, unadulterated fear of losing her last connection to comfort, to normalcy, to a past perhaps too painful to remember. Lily, sensing the shift in her father's demeanor, released his hand and walked tentatively towards Sarah. her eyes filled with sympathy. "Don't cry," she whispered, her voice surprisingly steady. "We'll get your teddy." Mark took a deep breath. This wasn't about a teddy bear. This was about human dignity. This was about seeing someone, truly seeing them, when the rest of the world chose blindness. He pulled his sleeves up, ignoring the thought of the grime, the smell, the judgment. "It's okay," he told Sarah, his voice firm but kind. "I'll help you." Where do you think he fell? Sarah, emboldened by his unexpected compassion, pointed more precisely to a narrow gap between a bin liner and the metal wall. He slipped. He's stuck down there. Mark leaned over the bin, trying to peer into the dark abyss. The smell was worse up close, a cocktail of rotting food and damp paper. It would be difficult to reach. He needed something long. He scanned the ground, then spotted a discarded broom handle propped against a nearby tree. "Lily, can you stay with her for just a second while I grab that stick?" he asked. Lily nodded bravely, standing beside Sarah and offering her a small, comforting pat on the arm. It was a gesture of pure, unadulterated human connection, a small hand reaching out to a broken soul. Mark returned with the broom handle, which was thankfully relatively clean. He carefully maneuvered it into the bin, pushing aside bags and trying to dislodge whatever was hidden below. It took several tense minutes, the rustling and scraping sounds punctuated by Sarah's hopeful gasps. Finally, the broom handle hooked onto something soft. With a careful tug, he pulled it up. There, nestled amongst the debris, was a worn, one-eyed teddy bear, its once fluffy fur matted and gray. "Beery?" Sarah cried out, her voice a mix of relief and adoration. She reached for him, clutching him to her chest as if he were indeed a lost child returned from the brink. The transformation in her face was instant and profound. The frantic fear melted away, replaced by a fragile, luminous peace. She looked at Mark, then at Lily, tears still flowing, but now they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Thank you, both of you." Mark smiled warmly, a genuine, unburdened smile. "You're welcome," he said, wiping his hands on an old napkin he found in his pocket. Lily, beaming, walked closer to Sarah. "Your teddy is safe now," she announced, her tiny voice a balm. As Mark and Lily turned to leave, a few people who had lingered, watching the spectacle unfold, actually clapped softly. Others averted their eyes, perhaps in shame, perhaps in admiration. But for Mark, it wasn't about the onlookers. It was about the quiet triumph of choosing empathy over indifference, of teaching his daughter that true strength lies in compassion. He glanced back once more. Sarah was still sitting on the bench, holding Beery close, a faint, contented hum escaping her lips. The world hadn't changed. The problems hadn't vanished. But for one brief, profound moment, a small act of kindness had mended a fractured heart. As they walked away, Lily looked up at her dad, her eyes sparkling. "We helped her, Daddy." Mark squeezed her hand. "Yes, sweetie, we did. And that's what matters most." The sun seemed to shine a little brighter. The city sounds a little softer. It was a small victory against the vastness of human struggle. A reminder that even when everyone else ignores the screams, a single act of kindness can change everything. If this story resonated with you, if it reminded you of the power we all hold to make a difference, please hit that like button and subscribe to Stories That Mend, because every act of kindness is a story worth telling. And remember, sometimes all it takes is one person to make all the difference.